What's up, guys? Welcome back from the from the XMG. So many letters. MLG XMG. Pro Invite, of course.
QXC Huck.
QXC
DRG.
Huck, DRG, MC, MMA, MVP, TOD,
TLO.
TLO,
San.
SAN.
Yeah. Of course, that is the match coming up next. TLO against San. This is the second quarterfinal match of the tournament. A best of 3 here. Game 1 will be on Belshire Vestige.
Yes, indeed. TLO versus San. We got a Protoss versus Zerg. Those labels are weird on the loading screen. It's a Tempest and Mothership Core. What does that mean? Was that just me?
I think that's just you.
That was the strangest thing I've ever
think
seen. Okay, we're just gonna ignore it because no one else sees it. So everyone's like, Axel Toss, why are you talking about things we don't know about? But here we are, guys. Game 1, best of 3, round of 8. This is the second quarterfinal match. Of course, in the first one, we saw Daisy close out Koss, so Daisy will move on to the next round of this tournament. Coming up a little bit later, we have Mr. Destiny making an appearance in this tournament. I know a lot of people looking forward to seeing how he does.
In fact, that is the next best of 3 following this best of 3 between TLO and San.
Yep. Next up is Destiny Morrow, and then Straylock versus Rhett will be closing out our day. Again, guys, remember to check out XMG. Huge thanks to them for supporting and presenting this tournament. Of course, Todd was the man behind the scenes, making it all happen, making it all work. So huge shout out to him as well.
You can follow him at ToddSC2.
Yeah, and definitely check out the notebook if you're looking for a laptop. That XMG notebook that we saw on the commercial just before the stream came back up honestly looked pretty sick. So if y'all are looking to support esports, or you're looking for a new laptop,
XMG_notebook.
Yep.
Let them know that you think it's an awesome product.
Absolutely. There you go. And, of course, this is going to be a different matchup from the first one as far as race-wise. We got a Protoss versus Zerg, which means since this map is using new maps with potential new balance changes, we're going to have some more stuff to look at. Specifically, remember the Protoss changes, of course, being the Oracle is the big thing. Movement speed increased from 3.375 to 4.0. Acceleration increased from 2 to 3. And for Zerg, here's what it is. The Roach Warren, the Tunneling Claws upgrade now increases burrowed Roach movement speed from 1.41 to 2.25.
So, wait, is Tunneling Claws, is that the one that's the one that lets them burrow underground, right?
Burrow lets them burrow underground, and the Tunneling Claws allows them to move while burrowed underground.
So at first I thought that changed. Well, actually, let me introduce the players really quickly. So in the upper left-hand location, we're actually a couple minutes into this game, going with the Gateway Expand, representing Western Wolves, we have San, of course, from South Korea. His opponent, representing Team Liquid, we have the Little One.
Of course, the Little One loves the creative strategy, so we might see that burrowed roach stuff from him.
Ooh, I love the 3 hatch before pool opening. As soon as he saw his opponent was Gateway expanding, going for the 3 hatch before pool, a great way to try to get an economic advantage against an opponent who you know is not going to be cannon rushing you. Although we have seen players like Huck do an in-base forge for mind game purposes.
Sure.
But San is not as much of a mind game player, so less likely he would do that. Now, what I was saying before so the question is, let's say you get the Tunneling Claws upgrade, but you don't get the speed upgrade, right?
So you get Tunneling Claws, you don't get roach speed.
Yeah. Do they move at 1.4 or 2.25? Like, basically my question is, as soon as you get Tunneling Claws, do they always burrow at 2.25? Or is it only if you have Tunneling Claws plus the roach speed that they now move really fast when burrowed?
Yeah, that's a really good question, actually. Because no one gets Tunneling Claws and doesn't get roach speed, pretty much. Like everyone usually gets roach speed first and then Tunneling Claws.
There could be some weird super right when you get Larry, you get it as part of some rush type build. Right?
Yeah, that's a good point.
And if they had 2.25 move speed, the instant you got that'd be pretty good. That means they move the same speed that non-speed roaches do, but they're underground.
Right.
So obviously, the burrowed roaches move the same speed as sentries and High Templar. So you know how back when burrowed roaches would be a big thing, you put down force fields and it'd all burrow and go under them and charge after your army, right?
You tried to pick off the roaches and
then you kite backwards, right?
Not so easy anymore.
Yeah, exactly. So that could make a difference, or just for running around and harassing with Tunneling Claw roaches against a scan. You can get out of scan radius a lot faster. Against an Observer without speed upgrade, you can outrun an Observer now.
Yeah.
Up until it gets a speed upgrade, which is kind of important to know. I'm pretty sure. I think Observers is like 1.8 move speed. So we do have, meanwhile, back to the game. Sorry, against a 3 hatch for 4 pull, we did see a lot of gateway pressure here coming in from San. TLO though has a lot of slow Zergings. Meanwhile, fairly even worker count. So often the idea of this is you get the Zerg to be really behind in drones, but TLO is still looking okay. And once he has Zerging speed, of course, this attack can be easily pushed away.
Yep.
Meanwhile, he's identified the lack of gas, so he's just continuing to build Zerglings, knowing his opponent is committing a decent amount to this attack without as much transition behind it.
7 Zealots swooping in here, but a lot of Speedlings out here from TLO. Going to go for this round. There's a time
no
warp.
recall.
Yeah, he isn't going to recall. And these Zealots are going to get scooped up and killed. Huh.
Yeah,
I'm trying to...
Well, I mean, he killed some Speedlings, so if you look at that,
yeah.
a very even trade in units lost. This may favor the Protoss a bit because that's a pretty good positioning for those Zealots. There's not too much service area, and they protect the pylon as well. This is something where if TLO wants to break this, he either needs to get Roaches or needs to spread creep and get Queens out there. But what he's going to do is he's going to keep tabs on how many more units are being warped in here.
So he can know how many units to have and how loosely he can drone.
We can see he's getting the Spine Core. I like that. That'll help out a lot in the defense, just a single Spine Core. And he's mixing in a mixture of drones and Speedlings, knowing that these Zealots could come out and get him. Meanwhile, he's continuing to keep an eye on the gas of his opponent. You can see there. That's super important because that also tells you if they're transitioning or not. And of course, there was a Stargate with an Oracle behind the Zealot pressure. Now that Stargate is getting Void Rays.
Oh, there's a nice time warp there, utilized to try to slow those Lings down. The Zealot's going to target down the spine and then turn around. I think TLO is going to be just fine, but again, the main differences are going to be how much are these warp-ins costing San versus how much these Zergling creations basically have been hurting or helping TLO.
I think TLO, especially considering that Oracle died, that was a huge blow to San. The Oracle, a very important part of the strategy because speeding counters at the third base that can defend. It can also just keep the Zerg on their toes with, popping and killing drones throughout the game. Even if there's a Queen here, you can pop in, kill 2 drones, run away, and repeat that, 5-6 times throughout the next couple of minutes. And you've got yourself a nice harassment. Now, San behind us is taking a third base. TLO's been scouting around. He knows what's going on, and okay, good. He built a second Oracle. I was saying that's very important to get the Oracle out there, just in case TLO decided to spam Speedlings at this location.
Okay, trying to target down that Nexus, but I don't think that's enough Speedlings at all. And the Oracle even going to help take those guys out. So, did TLO make any Lings behind that?
No, he didn't. Okay. I mean, he made some, but not not enough to really threaten. I think, if there was no Oracle, this may be enough to take this out. But with the Oracle overhead, I think that's a really important unit against mass Speedlings. If you spend, a lot of your Zealots die early, so the Zealot count is pretty low. It's been greatly diminished. These guys are interesting.
Have there been any Evo chambers yet?
No, there have not been. If you look at structures tab, you see no Evo chambers there.
That's pretty interesting to me.
Yeah, and what I like is he's not getting Roaches. This could be a lifestyle mass Hydra push on a third base, which, given how the game kind of opened, I think as a but he's spending resources on Roach speed, so that's gonna take away.
There's Tunneling Claws and Burrow.
Oh, so he's gonna be using the new patch a little bit, trying to see how these new Roaches operate. Pretty cool to see there. He is going Roach Hydra. Of course, if you look at the income tab, he's at 70 drones. So I would expect to see a 4th hatchery put down very soon at a 4th location. Meanwhile, a Speedling counter, another force field, does keep those guys out, but it's keeping San on the defensive. But like you said, no Evo chambers. So as the game goes on, the Roach Hydra will, it always gets weak over time, but in this case, without any upgrades, it's definitely going to be hit a little bit harder than you might otherwise think. But I don't think there's a single Robo yet. San's really worried about a Hydra attack. And this is actually not uncommon when you're going double Stargate to actually skip the Robo. But maybe with this new patch, it's something that's easier to punish if you try to do something like that.
So he's not going to have an Observer.
Yeah, and that's actually, there's one cannon. But once that goes down...
This could be a little bit #dicey.
Yes. It's going to be a multi-attack. We can see he's going to pressure this location with Hydras and Zerglings, and the Roaches are going to get a natural. Snipe off that cannon and try to burrow under a force field. Ooh! And the Oracle.
Wow.
The Oracle just saw the Hydralisk. Meanwhile, the Hallucinating Phoenix, I think, did see the Roaches, but
Oh, we see the burrowed Roaches. We see they're burrowed and they're running to the natural.
Look how much faster they move now. That's a big change. They could pop up, kill that Photon Cannon. Look at that, going right under the force field. They're going to go straight to the main base. There's no detection once they get out of Photon Cannon range.
Oh my god, look at him go.
A big move here by TLO.
Look at him go, sprinting into the main base underground. Void Race trying to figure this out. Of course, there's no detection there in the main.
Dude, that's not enough Stalkers to stop them. Okay, with the Void Race at home, he should be able to hold us back, but with the Void Race at home, of course, okay, he's using Revelation to reveal them as well. Meanwhile, TLO's getting to the third base. Roach is hiding to attack later. Getting a couple probes here, but Photon Overcharge is very good, and these units may be stuck.
Okay,
but he got the cannon!
And there's no Colossi here, so the Hydras can be...
He could burrow whenever he wants as well.
Burrow. He's gonna burrow.
Okay, he's burning some of the Roaches. He's trying to get them in. He's maybe going to pop them up, get a couple. Oh, more Roaches coming in from the back now.
TLO coming in with more Roaches, trying to take down those sentries. Those are going to be the expensive guys you want to take out. Also, a lot of probes have fallen during all of this. TLO making lots of Roaches and Hydras in that production tab. Burrowing again and trying to scoot underneath these Stalkers. But now that the Void Rays are here, I think that might mean the end of this push.
There is an Oracle available to use Envision if needed, and TLO is going to back away, but I don't think it's too unhappy. You know, San actually dealt with that amazingly considering the position he was in, I think. He only lost, actually, 7 probes, which is pretty impressive. Units lost tab is going to show fairly even. And of course, they're both on 3 bases. TLO just now getting that 4th base up. There's no drones at it. Oh, there's a Burrow getting closing the distance.
The Hydra's trying to peck away at those Void Rays. Only 1 Void Ray remaining against 2 Hydras. That's going to be the big story here. Meanwhile, the Stalkers below getting taken out by the Roaches. 2 Bevo Chambers just now finishing. So TLO just now going in the upgrades, trying to maximize the efficiency of this attack.
Kills these cannons. Oh, because the Oracle turn on its beam.
Yep.
It's going to try to get out of there.
I can't tell if they're burrowed or not burrowed.
Some of them are. And you know what? If you're retreating like this, as a Zerg from now on, if you have Tunneling Claws, Burrow's a great way, because look at how fast they regenerate. See those Stalkers trying to kill them, but the regeneration is quite high. And if you just click on one of these Roaches, you can see its life. I mean, obviously, he lost a couple because there's so much damage output.
Sure.
Meanwhile, there is, a pylon here taking over the 4th base. Also, Oracle gets into the main, kills a lot of drones. Massive damage being done here, actually, with the counterattack by San. Taking a look at things, San's actually killed more drones than TLO's killed probes, even though TLO's been the one on the attack most of this game. Oh, no, and the Oracle's not done yet either. Going to the 4th base, drones are fleeing terror. They could use Burrow. But the artist can actually be taken out. Ooh. Look how fast that Oracle is. Wow.
Zipping around.
You know, things move faster in this patch. Oracles, Roaches.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it so far.
Another attack here. Pack of Overlords just kind of hanging out.
Okay, let's see how TLO treats this engagement. Still no Colossi of any sort.
No, I think San is just now getting robo. He's felt so pressured to continually warp in units for defense that he hasn't had a chance to really get that transition. And I don't really blame him just from the way the game's gone. Blink Stalkers against Roach Hydra.
Back away. TLO not feeling like he has quite enough.
I love the use of Envision here. The Oracles he's getting so much value from them, using them as observers pretty much.
And that's pretty interesting because it's like double patch changes we're seeing at literally the same time. The Oracle, following the burrowed Roaches.
That was a very bold blink there, punished for it with a couple Stalker losses.
Gotta be careful. Stalkers are fancy.
Finally, we do have upgrades coming in from TLO. It's going to be 1-1 soon. Meanwhile, the Stalkers do have 2 attack upgrades. And the Robo just finished.
All right, another engagement happening here at the 3rd base. I don't know if this is enough Hydras. I mean, it's really good position here from San. The time warp on the Hydras is making stuff tough as well. Like, we see a lot of Hydras also running around in the back, so they're not necessarily engaging, whereas San has a nice concave, and most of his Stalkers are involved in the fight. You're going to do another offensive blink here, and TLO caught a little bit off guard again, but San has to make sure not to overextend, and now the fight is turning a bit closer. Yeah,
well, the offensive blink meant he couldn't use micro. He lost 5 or 6 Stalkers there due to not having blink available. Now, it looks like he will come out barely on top, but if they're trading units, remember, it is 4 bases to 3. It is 70 drones. I mean, the worker count's pretty even, but as this game drags on, we can notice that the main is gone. So even though there's the same number of probes as drones,
Yep.
they're only able to mine from 2 locations, and you can't utilize 67 probes on 2 locations. You're really wasting some of them. Whereas TLO, you know, well, as soon as he transfers some of these drones, okay, there we go. As soon as he transfers those from his main, Meanwhile, this Oracle is not done yet. He's a master. He's going for the 20 kill mark. 17, 18, 19. Oh no, he's distracted trying to micro back his stalkers, and he never becomes
what's after Nick? This is
mentor, instructor, master. Wow, I can't believe executor.
Executor.
He never becomes an executor.
Oh, this could be pretty big. Remember, all these roaches can burrow and just be annoying all game long. Taking down the cannon, sprinting towards that natural expansion. The Nexus is actually going to be targeted down. I could take it out.
There's no way that Nexus is surviving. Meanwhile, we do have a little bit of a counter here with Stalkers, but TLO is on top of that. He's going to defend that just fine. The Nexus goes down. The Oracle that could provide Envision is actually unpowered. Meanwhile, Train on the top of the ramp, a good concave for TLO here.
Force fields getting placed down. The Stalker's going to blink up. And at this point, these roaches are all going to die, just looking for cost-efficient trades. They've done their job. They went behind enemy lines. They tried to be fancy, but ultimately they're going to meet their demise. But took down that natural expansion. That's pretty darn huge. And look at this, a 4th trying to be established, but TLO is right there.
Yeah, he just, as long as he shuts down the 4th, Son is going to starve out fairly soon here. He's got to focus down this Nexus. Oh, he didn't realize that there wasn't the whole Stalker force there, else he would have focused it down. He assumed there would be about 20 Stalkers coming in, which there are, but not quite as fast. Now, Son could launch a very strong counter. The supplies are very even. Of course, Blink Stalkers are going to be more supply efficient than the Roach Hydra composition, but now it might be engaging on creep, with TLO able to set up those defender concaves. We do have an Oracle coming here to the 3rd base. Look at this, coming in, grabbing a couple kills. Son multitasking like a monster. He cleans up creep here. Oracle grabbing a lot of drone kills, and this is again where Burrow ideally would be utilized, but I think TLO in some situations is forgetting he has that. A little bit of counter checking the probe count to 4th. No probes there quite yet, and Son moves up.
Still mostly Blink Stalkers. He's going to try to charge in this 4th base. TLO trying to set up a concave, trying to come in from as many angles as possible. Look at that, burrowing some roaches, trying to get underneath, trying to get behind to prevent the retreat. And the Queen's coming in from behind as well. A Queen flank, I haven't seen that too often. But is it going to matter? Sauna has so much stuff.
Great transfusions, but all the Hydra lists are actually out of the engagement. Now they're coming forward, but there's not many roaches left to tank. And again, great force fields. TLO is forced back. Now, all it takes is 1 or 2 fungals can change the game, but the Infestor does not have energy for fungal quite yet. Just going to kind of charge in there and try to tank some damage for the Hydra list. Not the most cost-efficient tank, but here come 2 more Infestors, and the Stalkers are being forced back.
Yep, they're going to retreat. Of course, the main objective here for Son is to protect this 4th base on the right-hand side, but with only Stalkers against this Roach Hydra Infestor army, not sure how possible that is.
Yeah, it's going to be a little dicey. Roaches using that Burrow to heal themselves up, and oh, 1 big fungal. Oh, 2
the
fungals.
roaches going to come up underneath the Stalkers and get a lot of damage done. Hard to micro away from that, and there's the GG from Son. TLO.
Wow.
Nicely played game there.
Yeah, you know, that was a really cool game, and I think a lot of people were expecting Son to just... If you look at the 8 players in this, Son is a favorite. I mean, he's been in, you know, GSL top 4, I think, at least twice. Acer Team Story Cup, he's like 13-1 or 13-2 or something ridiculous. This guy's one of the top Korean Protoss out there. But TLO showcasing a new style that is kind of taking advantage of the late robo that's been very popular lately in PvZ. And it's just
a late robo when you know your opponent's likely to do that Burrowed Roach stuff. That's a bold decision to make, but it was a pretty cool play there from TLO. Like, I had a few thoughts as far as watching it unfold on how it could potentially be effective as the game gets played more, as the game goes along. TLO trying some new stuff. It was really cool, using the Burrowed Roaches to retreat. Of course, you got the regen when you're underground. And then when engaging, you know, allowing your Hydras to hit, burrowing your Roaches, and just trying to get as close as possible, unburrowing. And then the Roaches tank while the Hydras do damage, and as many units are attacking as possible to maximize your efficiency.
You know, one other thing that actually helps a lot is you let the Roaches take like 1 volley.
Yeah.
And then you burrow them, and the target priority is decreased. So the Stalkers then shoot the Hydralisk. And normally you do want the Roaches to tank a bit, but you actually ideally want the damage to be spread out as evenly as possible.
Sure.
So the Roaches take a volley, then they burrow, then the Hydralisk take a volley, then the Roaches close the distance and pop up, and then they're again resuming their tanking job. But there's that 1 volley that kind of didn't hit the Roaches, and actually they regenerated the first volley during that time as well. So you almost neutralize 2 stalker volleys, except for, the roaches that are focused enough that actually die during those volleys.
Very interesting game. Of course, this is a best of 3. That was game number 1. So San versus TLO is going to happen again. San has some work to do. He has to win 2 in a row to advance to the next round of this tournament. TLO only needs to win 1 more. Remember, guys, we have plenty of StarCraft 2 matches coming your way today. After this, it's going to be Destiny versus Morrow, followed by